Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, my name is Romi Jati, and today in this chance I want to talk about the theoretical foundation of translating. At first, we have to know what is that translation. Well, translation is often thought as a process of transferring meaning from source language into target language. And the main goal of transferring is finding out the equivalency of the words and making the source language sound natural in target language. A good translation is which able to convey the messages, thoughts, ideas, and concepts from the source language truly and correctly. And then I want to give you some definition of translation from some sources. First, there is a Collins. Translation is a piece of writing or speech that has been put into a different language. The second, the definition translation from dictionary. Translation is a changing from one state or form to another. Third, Catford. Catford defines that translation as a replacement source text which equivalent to the target. Fourth, Ernst and Good states that the translation is intended to restate one language what someone else said or wrote in another language. Fifth, Munday. Munday states that translations are exchanging of an original written text in the original verbal language into a written text in a different verbal language. It can be concluded that translation connects between two or language or multilingual, which emphasize more on equivalent. Then next I'm gonna talk and explain more about the principles of translation. Well, there are no universally accepted principles of translation because the people who are qualified to formulate them have never agreed among themselves. But the following thoughts can be quoted as a great principles in general. First, you can find out that a translation must give the words of the original. The second, a translation must give the ideas of the original. The third, a translation may never add or omit the original. And the fourth, a translation should be read like the original. The fifth, a translation should be read as a contemporary of the original. The sixth, a translation should possess the styles of the translation. Well, we go to the next slide about the acceptable translation. Well, about the acceptable translation, it needs requirements. There are three of them, so I'm gonna explain each of them. First, there is equivalency in translation. Well, equivalence is defined as relationship existing between two entities, and the relationship is described as one of likeness, sameness, similarity, quality in terms of any of a number of potential qualities. Thus, equivalence in translation is defined as a relationship between source text and target text that allows the target language to be considered as a translation of the source text in the first place. And the second, there is accuracy in translation. Well, what's the accuracy? Accuracy is the content of the translation must be identical with the original text. Accuracy is a relational concept. In other words, the underlying notion is of a translation as accurate reproduction of the source text. So it means like the spirits of the documents itself or the others purposes as well as all technical terms have been reproduced in the target language without distortions, omissions, additions, with the maximum possible accuracy. And the third, naturalness in translation. The concept of naturalness is to use a natural form of a target text. So it means like the language used in target text sounds natural in the original audience or readers of the target language. The translation should make sense, and the translation should be able to read naturally in order to meet the naturalness. Well, when the translation is written in ordinary language and the common grammar, idioms, and the choice of diction meet that kind of certain situation, the translation could be considered natural. Naturalness also depends on the relation between the writer and the readership and the topic of situation itself. So, well, I think that's all about my explanation about the theoretical foundation translating. Um, Thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.